Hello and a very warm welcome to Midday Prime. Over the next 1 hour, we'll bring you all the stories and updates from India and the world. We will update you about the happenings in the world of business and sports, and we'll get you some interesting stories that are making headlines. But first up, the big news at this hour. Election Commission to announce the Delhi Assembly election is scheduled at 3:30 p.m. today. Aam Aadmi Party faces a triangular fight with BJP and Congress. The term of the 70-member Delhi Assembly is ending on the 22nd of February. Violence and vandalism by masked people inside JNU campus on a Sunday has been condemned from all quarters. And the Minister, Prasar Bharati, External Affairs Minister S. Shankar, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman condemned the violence. Delhi police file first FIR in connection with JNU campus violence. Home Minister Amit Shah speaks to Delhi's Lieutenant Governor and Delhi Police Commissioner. Orders an inquiry. JNU sends a detailed report on violence on the campus and sequence of events to the HRD Ministry. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar holds telephonic discussions with US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on the evolving situation in the Gulf region. Also holds conversations with his Iranian, Omani and UAE counterparts. Conveys India's concern at the levels of tension. Iran declares complete withdrawal from the 2015 nuclear deal, while Iraqi parliament passes resolution for removal of all US troops from Iraq. Fresh rocket attacks at US embassy in Baghdad. 3 US citizens killed in attacks at a US base in Kenya. Home Minister Amit Shah lays the foundation stone for the 550 crore rupees project Delhi Cycle Walk. The project to make mobility economical for Delhiites, fight pollution and also transform the city into the most walkable and cycle-friendly city. And our top focus this afternoon, security has been beefed up outside the Jawaharlal Nehru University campus to maintain a law and order after yesterday's violence there. Jawaharlal Nehru University today sent a detailed report on the violence on the campus and the sequence of events as they happened yesterday to the HRD Ministry. Meanwhile, the HRD Ministry today held a meeting with the JNU Registrar, Proctor and other university officials over the matter. JNU administration submitted a report to the HRD Ministry stating the sequence of events that happened yesterday. JNU Registrar Pramod Kumar said that the HRD Secretary assured all possible help to control the situation in the campus. He also told that the process of registration will get an extension.
पूरी घटना का क्रमबद्ध ब्यौरा दिया है और सेक्रेटरी की तरफ से हमें पूरा आश्वासन मिला है कि जो नॉर्मलसी लाने के लिए जेएनयू के अंदर जो चीज़ भी जरूरत पड़ेगी वो हमें मुहैया कराएंगे। जेएनयू में छात्रों का 2 ग्रुप है। एक ग्रुप है जो अपना रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाना चाहता है, दूसरा ग्रुप है जो उनके रजिस्ट्रेशन में बाधा डालना चाहता है। तो उन दोनों छात्र ग्रुप में जो हाथापाई हुई उसके बारे में हमने यहाँ बताया है। कल जो घटना घटी वो पूरी अप्रत्याशित थी। जेएनयू के इतिहास में ऐसी कभी घटना नहीं घटी थी और पहले भी हमने पुलिस को इत्तला दिया था। पुलिस आती थी, उनसे बात करती थी और हम इस उम्मीद में थे कि शायद वो अपने आंदोलन को वापस ले लेंगे। जेएनयू में रजिस्ट्रेशन करने के जो नियम है वो है कि बिना फाइन दिए 5 तारीख से रजिस्ट्रेशन होता है। उसके बाद 1 वीक का हम समय देते हैं जिसमें कुछ सर्टेन फाइन होता है। उसके बाद फिर 1 वीक का समय देते हैं जिसमें फ़ाइन का अमाउंट बढ़ जाता है। तो अभी हम जो फाइन का जो समय है उसको हम घटा देंगे।
Earlier, Registrar and Pro VC of JNU met the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, Anil Baijal, and apprised him of the situation. In another development, the Delhi police has registered a case against unidentified people in connection with the violence in JNU campus. Deputy Commissioner of Police, Southwest Region, Devender Arya, said that CCTV footage of the incident on social media platforms will also be examined as part of the investigation.
JNU में कल जो वायलेंस हुआ है उसको संज्ञान में लेते हुए हमने पुलिस स्टेशन वसंत कुंज नॉर्थ में ऑलरेडी एक एफआईआर दर्ज कर लिया है और फर्दर इन्वेस्टिगेशन इज अंडर वे। घायल तकरीबन 30 से ज़्यादा संख्या है स्टूडेंट्स की जो घायल हुए हैं। प्रिलिमिनरी किसी को बहुत सीरियस इंजरीज नहीं है। सोशल मीडिया एज वेल एज जितनी भी फुटेजेस अवेलेबल हैं सबको संज्ञान में ले रहे हैं और आइडेंटिफिकेशन प्रोसेस इज ऑन। मैं अभी यही बोलूँगा कि पुलिस हैज़ रिस्पॉन्डेड वेल इन टाइम।
Meanwhile, all 34 injured persons were treated at AIIMS Trauma Centre and now have been discharged from AIIMS. They were admitted to the hospital after violence at the JNU campus yesterday evening. JNU's Vice-Chancellor M. Jagdesh Kumar has appealed to all students to maintain peace, saying that the top priority of the varsity is to protect the academic interests of students. The appeal came a day after masked persons indulged in violence in the JNU campus. In a detailed statement, the Vice-Chancellor said that the university stands by the students to facilitate their pursuit of academic activities. We will ensure that their winter semester registration will take place without any hindrance. They need not fear about their process. The top priority of the university is to protect the academic interests of our students. So words of assurance coming in from the JNU Vice-Chancellor. The JNU Vice-Chancellor also said that appropriate action will be taken against those involved in the violence. In a statement, he further said that the origin of the present situation in JNU lies in some agitating students turning violent and obstructing the academic activities of a large number of non-protesting students. The protesting students damaged the university communication servers to disrupt the winter semester registration. They prevented thousands of students from doing their winter registration. Their intent is clearly aimed at disrupting the functioning of the university. This is simply hooliganism and against the ethos of JNU. No such person will be spared and appropriate action will be taken. So JNU's Vice-Chancellor saying that none of the vandals will be spared, appropriate action will be taken against them. Meanwhile, the wardens of the Sabarmati hostel at the Jawaharlal Nehru University resigned today, stating in their resignation letters that they were quitting on moral grounds as they were unable to provide security to the hostel residents. Union Minister Smriti Irani has said that universities should not be turned into hubs of politics or political battlefields. Neither should students be used as political pawns.
शैक्षिक संस्थानों को राजनीति का अखाड़ा ना बनाया जाए, इससे हमारे जितने भी छात्र हैं उनके जीवन पर असर पड़ता है, उनकी प्रगति पे असर पड़ता है। मैं आशान्वित हूँ, आशावादी हूँ कि राजनीति का अखाड़ा और राजनीतिक मोहरे की तरह इस्तेमाल छात्रों को नहीं किया जाएगा।
Union Minister Prakash Javadekar also criticized the campus violence in the strongest possible terms. Listen in.
JNU में जो कल हिंसा हुई उसकी हम भर्त्सना करते हैं। कुछ कांग्रेस, कम्युनिस्ट, आम आदमी पार्टी और कुछ तत्व जानबूझकर देश भर में और खासकर विश्वविद्यालयों में हिंसा का माहौल तैयार करना चाहते हैं और इसीलिए इसकी जांच ढंग से होनी चाहिए कि पिछले 3 दिन से जब सेमेस्टर के लिए रजिस्ट्रेशन शुरू हो गया तो कौन रजिस्ट्रेशन में बाधा डाल रहा था। तो ये जानबूझकर विश्वविद्यालयों में अशांति निर्माण करने की एक कुछ लोगों की साजिश है, उसका भी पर्दाफाश होना चाहिए।
Earlier, Union Home Minister Amit Shah spoke to Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal and asked him to talk to representatives from the JNU. And now our correspondents are joining us. Nishant Saurabh is joining us from the HRD Ministry. Vishal Baristo is joining us from JNU. I'll come to you, Nishant, first. There was a meeting that had taken place between JNU administration officials as well as HRD Ministry officials, and there is a report that has been submitted to the HRD Ministry on all that transpired yesterday. Is the HRD Ministry intervening to ensure that the matters settle down sooner than later?
जी देखिए जो आज जो मीटिंग हुई थी एचआरडी सेक्रेटरी अमित खरे ने बुलाई थी और एचआरडी मिनिस्ट्री कि इस तरह की जो
HRD, the proctor says that it was a very positive meeting and they are trying their level best to normalize situation here, and it is very unfortunate the way that incident took place. Meanwhile, the Union Minister, INB Minister Prakash Javadekar has said that it appears to be hand of the opposition that includes AAP, Congress and left, and a lot of politics has been going on. War of words have broken out. The students stand divided between different student unions. As I speak to you, I would ask my cameraman to show you how the media is gathered here in front of the gate, and this road that leads to the gate is blocked, barricaded from both sides. Time and again, rumors are coming that this group of this student union would be coming here to protest for a demonstration. So Delhi police is not taking any chances. A lot of precautions are being taken. Nobody is allowed inside the campus without proper identification. So many precautions have been taken. But yesterday I was here, we were here till wee hours in the morning, and if we compare yesterday and today, situation looks quite better. The shops, the food stalls around this campus, they are now functioning. So the tempers have calmed down, but still the situation is tense, and Delhi police is not taking any chances. Munmun?
Right, stay with us, Vishal. I'm going now to Nishant Saurabh, who's been tracking the developments at the Shastri Bhavan. Nishant, is the HRD ministry intervening to ensure that the situation is diffused and also to an extent accountability is fixed?
जी देखिए, ये जो कल जो घटना हुई है JNU में, इसको लेकर HRD मिनिस्ट्री काफ़ी सख्त है। और अभी जो मीटिंग हुई थी, HRD सेक्रेटरी अमित खरे की मीटिंग हुई थी, जो JNU के जो ऑफिशियल्स आए थे, रजिस्ट्रार, प्रोक्टर, प्रो VC, ये लोग आए थे। उसकी मीटिंग के बाद जो रजिस्ट्रार से हमारी बात हुई, तो उन्होंने ये कहा कि HRD मिनिस्ट्री ने उन्हें वो एश्योरेंस दिया है कि JNU कैंपस में नॉर्मलसी लाने के लिए जो भी मदद की ज़रूरत होगी, वो HRD मिनिस्ट्री की तरफ से JNU एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को दी जाएगी। यानी कि जो भी नॉर्मलसी लाने के लिए जो भी ज़रूरत होगी, वो HRD मिनिस्ट्री की तरफ से पहल की जाएगी। तो जाहिर तौर पर HRD मिनिस्ट्री इसमें इंटरवीन करेगी और चुप नहीं बैठेगी, क्योंकि ये जो मामला है, केवल इसको एक आइसोलेटेड केस के तौर पर नहीं देखा जाना चाहिए, कल घटना हुई, बल्कि ये पिछले 2-3 महीने से जो प्रोटेस्ट चल रहा है JNU के अंदर फीस वृद्धि को लेकर, जो लगातार प्रोटेस्ट हो रहा है, उसी का एक परिणाम है जो कि कल देखने को मिला। क्योंकि ये जो स्टूडेंट प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे थे, पहले तो उन्होंने स्टूडेंट्स को क्लास नहीं लेने दिया, फिर जो सेमेस्टर एग्ज़ाम हुआ उसमें भी अपीयर नहीं होने दिया, और अब जब विंटर सेमेस्टर के लिए रजिस्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस चल रहा था, तो उसमें उन्होंने बाधा डालने का प्रयास किया। तो वो पूरा जो प्रोटेस्ट था फीस हाई को लेकर, उसी की एक कड़ी के तौर पर इसको देखा जाना चाहिए। और HRD मिनिस्ट्री इस पूरे इवेंट्स, सीक्वेंस ऑफ इवेंट्स को काफ़ी गंभीरता से ले रहा है, क्योंकि JNU की तरफ से जो रिपोर्ट सौंपी गई है HRD मिनिस्ट्री को, उसमें पूरा सीक्वेंस ऑफ इवेंट्स बताया गया है, कल कैसे कैसे क्या घटना हुई, और HRD मिनिस्ट्री उस सारे इवेंट्स को स्टडी करेगा, और निश्चित तौर पर जो कार्रवाई करने की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, जो डिसिप्लिनरी एक्शन लेने की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, वो ली जाएगी। और JNU ने भी कहा है कि जो भी छात्र इसमें दोषी पाए जाएंगे, उनके खिलाफ जो यूनिवर्सिटी के रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस के हिसाब से कार्रवाई की जाएगी। और दूसरी बात, एक मैं ये भी बताना चाहूँगा कि जो रजिस्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस, जो ऑनलाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस था, उसका कल लास्ट डेट था 5 जनवरी। तो JNU की ओर से ये कहा गया है कि क्योंकि इस लास्ट डेट खत्म होने के बाद स्टूडेंट को फ़ाइन देना पड़ता है रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए, तो JNU की तरफ से कहा गया है कि जिन स्टूडेंट्स ने रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं करवाया, चूँकि जिस तरह से कल घटना हुई, काफ़ी स्टूडेंट नहीं करवा पाए हैं, तो उनके लिए जो ये तारीख है वो बढ़ाई जाएगी, बिना फ़ाइन के भी वो रजिस्ट्रेशन कर पाएंगे। इसकी घोषणा JNU की ओर से की जाएगी कि कब तक वो बिना फ़ाइन दिए रजिस्ट्रेशन करा सकते हैं। तो JNU एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का साफ तौर पर ये इरादा है कि जो शैक्षणिक एकेडमिक एक्टिविटीज़ हैं JNU के अंदर, उसको किसी भी तरह से बाधा ना पहुंचाया जाए, और जो भी छात्र ऑनलाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन से वंचित रह गए हैं नेक्स्ट सेमेस्टर के लिए, क्योंकि उसके बिना क्लासेस शुरू नहीं हो सकती हैं, तो उनको फैसिलिटेट किया जाएगा कि वो सुचारू रूप से अपना रजिस्ट्रेशन कर सके। तो जाहिर तौर पर एक जो भी ये घटना हुई है JNU के अंदर, ये एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के हिसाब से अनप्रेसिडेंटेड था, क्योंकि हमने जब JNU के रजिस्ट्रार से पूछा कि जब आपको पता था पिछले 3 दिनों से इस तरह की घटना हो रही थी, 3 तारीख को ही सर्वर उन्होंने ठप कर दिया था, उसके बाद सर्वर को में तोड़फोड़ किया गया रजिस्ट्रेशन के प्रोसेस को रोकने के लिए, तो जब पहले से ये पता था कि इस तरह की घटनाएं हो रही हैं, तो उसके लिए पहले से एहतियातन कदम क्यों नहीं उठाया गया। तो उन्होंने कहा कि देखिए पहले जो 3 और 4 तारीख को जो ये घटना हुई थी, उसके बाद छात्रों को समझा बुझा दिया गया था, लेकिन कल जो घटना हुई वो बिल्कुल अनप्रेसिडेंटेड थी कि इसका अंदाज़ा विश्वविद्यालय प्रशासन को नहीं था, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को बिल्कुल भी अंदाज़ा नहीं था कि इस तरह की हिंसा वहाँ पर हो सकती है, क्योंकि जिस तरह से नकाबपोश लोग वहाँ पर पहुँचे मास्क लगाकर, तो इस तरह की घटना का अंदाज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं था। और यूनिवर्सिटी का ये कहना है कि इन लोगों ने जो वहाँ पर स्टूडेंट के साथ काफ़ी बुरी तरह ये पेश आया, और यहाँ पर तक कि वहाँ पे जो गार्ड्स थे जो कि जिन्होंने उनको रोकने की कोशिश की, उन गार्ड्स के साथ भी उन्होंने हाथापाई की, उनके ऊपर
Absolutely. So that's why we saw vandalism yesterday. The situation had come to a head. You are telling us that the server breakdown had taken place some time back. It's been a situation that has been evolving over 3 days, and things came to a head only yesterday, and the administration is saying in its defense that for it the situation was unprecedented. Vishal, coming to you, have most of the students left the campus? Also, if you could interact with some of the students, could you feel that the divisions between them are stark? Because we are seeing how the left supported groups of students as well as the ABVP are blaming each other for the vandalism that had happened, and that is quite reflected in the political circles as well.
Well, certainly, Munmun, ever since this protest started, this incident took place, a lot of leaders who are also politicians belonging to the left organizations, they have been visiting and also meeting the students here. They are venting out their anger. They are blaming a different student union group. They are saying that we were having a peaceful presentation on the registration issue by the SFI when this all started. So the police are yet to ascertain the identity of the masked miscreants, but the government swung into action, and the Home Minister yesterday itself called up the Delhi police to find out how it all happened. But this is for sure that the proctor has said that not only the students and teachers but also the guards of the JNU were manhandled and were injured. So this is a very, very serious thing, and despite of the claims and counterclaims and leaders from the leftist organizations that includes activists of different sorts, because this is an elite institute, university, and a lot of politicians who have studied here, they have also been very vocal. Yesterday, the finance minister and the external affairs minister, they had also expressed their worry and their sadness over this incident. But meanwhile, let me tell you that the leaders of the leftist organizations, they have been here since yesterday. They are mingling with the students. They are trying to find out as to how they can gather support, because they are blaming the incident on the different student union group. At the same time, they are also venting their anger on the Delhi police, but the Delhi police have said that very categorically that it was only after the written request by the university authority. They came here, they held a flag march, and now the force is inside. The force is also outside. The university entrances on all sides have been barricaded to avoid any escalation of the situation. The law and order is perfectly under control, but still the police are not taking any chances. We were here till the wee hours today, and today as the day broke, situation looks better than yesterday, but still it is quite tense, and that is why the police are here with the water cannons and all to take care of any agitation which can go violent to further escalate the situation.
Absolutely.
So the police
Vishal
are not taking
and
any
Nishant,
chances.
thank you so much for having joined us with those updates. Vishal telling us that the university is now well fortified, and the police is really taking no chances to ensure that no untoward incident takes place. Thank you for having joined us with those updates. Well, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar talked to his Iranian counterpart Mohammad Javad Zarif on Sunday. The External Affairs Minister in a tweet said that India remains deeply concerned about the levels of tension. He added that both of them agreed to remain in touch. The External Affairs Minister has been in touch with several of his counterparts in the Middle East, particularly, as Jaishankar also held a telephonic conversation with US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on the evolving situation in the Gulf region. The discussion with his US counterpart comes amid spiraling US-Iran tensions over the killing of Iranian military commander Qasem Soleimani. In a tweet, the External Affairs Minister said had a telephonic discussion with Secretary of State Secretary Pompeo on The evolving situation in the Gulf region highlighted India's stakes and concerns. The External Affairs Minister also discussed the tense situation with the Omani Foreign Minister Yusuf Alawi. In a tweet, the External Affairs Minister said discussed with Foreign Minister Yusuf Alawi of Oman the tense situation in the region, reaffirmed our shared interest in the stability and security of the Gulf, appreciated his perspectives on the current situation. The External Affairs Minister also had a telephonic discussion with the Foreign Minister of UAE. The EAM, in a tweet, said a warm conversation with the FM of UAE exchanged views on recent developments in the region. So India working the phone lines, especially with its US counterparts, its in fact own counterparts in the Middle East region, besides of course US Secretary of State. And in Iran, the cabinet has announced the country's decision to take the fifth and final step to reduce commitments to the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, popularly referred as the 2015 nuclear deal. The cabinet said that Iran will observe no restrictions in operational areas, including enrichment capacities, enrichment percentage, and the volume of enriched material, as well as research. The statement added that Iran's nuclear program faces no kinds of restrictions in such areas and will go on solely according to the country's technical needs. However, the cabinet stressed that Iran will continue cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency as before. Iran is ready to go back to its commitments once the sanctions are removed and the country gets benefits from the nuclear deal. According to the statement, the cabinet assigned the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran to take the necessary measures to this end in coordination with the Iranian president. Under the 2015 accord, Iran had agreed to limit its sensitive nuclear activities and allow in international inspectors in return for the lifting of crippling economic sanctions. However, the deal was unilaterally abandoned by the Trump administration in May 2018, and tensions between Washington and Tehran have been simmering since then. NATO ambassadors will gather in Brussels for an urgent meeting convened by the head of the military alliance to discuss the situation in the Middle East. The NATO ambassadors' meeting was organized at short notice after the alliance decided on Saturday to suspend its training mission in Iraq over security risks. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has defended the U.S. airstrike which killed Iranian military commander Qasem Soleimani, warning that the U.S. will respond if Iran retaliates. Pompeo said the U.S. administration is committed to protecting American lives and that the U.S. will have a decisive and vigorous response to retaliatory action by Iran.
President Trump is focused deeply on keeping Americans safe over the long haul. Preserving, protecting, defending America is the mission that we have. It may be that there's a little noise here in the interim and that the Iranians make the choice to respond. I hope that they don't. President Trump has made clear what we will do in response if they do, that our response will be decisive and vigorous, just as it has been so far. But we're going to take all actions necessary, not only in Iraq, but throughout the region, to protect Americans, American citizens, as well as my diplomats and service members who are serving overseas. We're always going to do the right thing to protect America, and I am confident that the decision we made to take down this terrorist, this designated terrorist who had inflicted so much harm over such an extended period, was the right course of action to reduce risk to America.
So there is already an escalation between Iran and the United States of America that's underway, and a war of words is continuing between the who's who of the two countries. What are they saying? Well, Trump has warned Iran against attacking any American or U.S. assets. So a clear warning or a threat coming in from U.S. President Donald Trump. Donald Trump has threatened to bomb 52 Iranian cultural sites if Iran retaliates against any American or any U.S. asset. Iran has said that targeting cultural sites is a war crime. There are a series of tweets that have been put out by the Iranian foreign minister. One of them says that if any of our cultural sites are attacked, then that will be tantamount to a war crime. Trump has threatened to use state-of-the-art military equipment against Iran. That's in fact one of his latest tweets. He said that we have spent around $2 trillion on state-of-the-art military equipment of late, and we'll be using some of that against Iran if Iran retaliates. Well, Iran has removed limits on uranium enrichment, so Iran has further rolled back commitments to the 2015 nuclear deal with 6 world powers. It's also known as JCPOA and popularly known as the 2015 nuclear deal. What else is Iran doing? Let's take a look at that. Iran to not follow limits on number of uranium enrichment centrifuges. What is that going to mean? We're going to talk later to my colleague who tracks foreign affairs very closely. Iran says that will continue to cooperate with IAEA. So while Iran has in a way completely withdrawn from the JCPOA, it's saying that it's going to comply with the IAEA, which is the nuclear watchdog of the United Nations. Meanwhile, Iraq has voted for expulsion of US troops. Iraq's parliament has passed that resolution, and that resolution was passed by majority of Iraq's member of parliaments on Sunday. Resolution tells the government of Iraq to end presence of foreign troops in Iraq, and that also means US troops in Iraq. Having said that, the resolution further asks the government of Iraq to ensure that its land, air or waters are not used by foreign troops whatsoever. And why was that statement made as part of that resolution? Because there was a pact that the US had signed with Iraq, and so the resolution asked the government of Iraq to end pact under which US sent forces to Iraq to fight the Islamic State 4 years ago. Well, Trump has threatened Iraq with what he calls quote-unquote big sanctions and a bill of billions of dollars. So Trump is actually asking Iraq to provide it an air base if it were to ask it to leave the troops, besides of course face sanctions. Well, India is talking to stakeholders in the region as well as United States. And what is India doing? External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar discussed the turmoil in the Middle East with the foreign ministers of Iran, Oman and the UAE. A series of tweets have been made by S. Jaishankar on these conversations that he's had very recently. External Affairs Minister has also spoken to the US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and there have been two tweets, one from S. Jaishankar and the other by Mike Pompeo on this telephonic conversation that they've had. The External Affairs Minister has highlighted India's stakes and concerns in talks with Pompeo. So that's how India is viewing the situation. It has called for restraint in the past as well. It has said that there should be no escalation. Any escalation should be avoided. Let's get some perspective from my colleague Ramesh Ramachandran, who tracks foreign affairs very closely. Well, Ramesh, welcome to Midday Prime. Your thoughts on the kind of escalation that is already underway? We are seeing rocket attacks. We are seeing Al-Shabaab attack a military US base in Yemen and in Kenya, in fact. And now we are seeing escalatory statements as well coming from both Iran as well as the US president.
I mentioned that there have been two key developments in the last several hours, and they have come barely 72 hours after the assassination of Qasem Soleimani. One, the Iraqi parliament has asked its government to expel all foreign troops from Iraq, and this bill will now need to be signed by Prime Minister Adil Mahdi in the days ahead. And the second most important development, significant development, Munmun, as you mentioned there, is the Iranian government's decision to end all commitments to the 2015 Iran nuclear deal. Now, technically speaking, under the terms of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or the JCPOA as the deal was known, Iran was to enrich uranium for civil nuclear energy, to power its energy sector, to enrich uranium only up to 3.67%. Now Iran says it will enrich uranium to a higher percentage, and that could potentially ease the way or pave the way for Iran acquiring a nuclear weapon sometime in the future.
Absolutely, Ramesh. The resolution that has been passed by the Iraqi parliament is not final. You're telling us that the Iraqi prime minister has to sign the bill. But what if he doesn't, considering that the United States has already threatened Iraq with sanctions and is asking it to pay it billions of dollars for it to be able to make an air base in Iraq if it were to ask US troops to leave?
Well, Munmun, if you take as the American troop presence in Iraq in particular, there are about more than 5,000 US troops alone in Iraq today as we speak. And the risk for the US and Trump is that they might be asked to leave Iraq sometime in the near future. Why? Because Adil Mahdi, the prime minister, he is seen to be very close to the Iranian regime, so to speak. And we saw him march along with the mourners in Baghdad a few days ago after the assassination of Qasem Soleimani. So he is seen to be spearheading this campaign to expel American troops from Iraq, and one can expect him to indeed sign the bill in the days ahead, and that would be a big blow to Trump and is Trump's West Asia policy. Remember, there are many troops and bases located in the region, including in Kuwait, in Turkey. So what the impact will have on American troop presence in the region remains to be seen.
Right, and we saw how our External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar spoke to his counterparts in UAE, Oman, Iran, as well as to Secretary Mike Pompeo. In the region, do you expect any of these powers, particularly maybe Oman, to be playing the peacemaker?
Well, every country, Munmun, wants to see peace prevail in West Asia. Why? For the simple reason that many countries in South Asia and around the world source oil from the Persian Gulf and West Asia. Any disturbance there will have a cascading effect on their respective economies, namely India. So India, given the fact that Indian economy is not doing too well today as we speak, India wants to have a predictable oil import situation, no disturbance in the region, especially concerning the Iran and the Persian Gulf. So India, as Dr. S. Jaishankar told his counterparts from the US, from the UAE, Iran and other countries, including Oman, that they want peace in the region, stability in the region, and not want disturbance to escalate into a military conflict. Now, Jaishankar told his counterparts that India views the situation with very lot of concern, because stability there will have an impact, a good positive impact on Indian economy. But any situation, any disturbance there will affect adversely India's oil situation, plus the economic impact or the fallout of it going forward. So India is waiting and watching as things unfold in the Persian Gulf region.
So you're telling us that as far as India's stakes is concerned, there is the angle of energy security, and Iran, I believe, has been the highest exporter of crude oil to India. We've been importing from various sources 83% of our crude oil requirements. But strategically also, is it going to impact India, considering that it's building Chabahar port in Iran?
Without doubt, Munmun. Remember, historically speaking, India used to share a border with Iran until 1947. So Iran is very much in India's immediate neighborhood, number one. Number two, there are four key pillars, so to speak. As you mentioned there, one is energy security. India imports oil from Iran and countries in West Asia and the Persian Gulf. So any disturbance there will affect India's economic growth in the near term, number one. Number two is connectivity. As you mentioned, Chabahar port, India is helping develop that port for all three countries, namely India, Iran and Afghanistan. Remember, Afghanistan is a landlocked country. It does not have access to a seaport. So Chabahar will help Iran and Afghanistan in export and import of commodities to and from India. And third most important factor is infrastructure development. Remember, India and Iran are cooperating on the so-called international north-south transport corridor, which will link India with Central Asia and Eastern Europe. So this entails railway connectivity and road connectivity. And the fourth most important aspect, Munmun, is the presence of almost 8 million Indians living in West Asia as a whole. Any disturbance in that region will affect them and their lives. So India is watching this with bated breath, so to speak.
And how is this playing out in domestic US politics, considering that 2020 is a presidential year there? And we've also heard through a tweet from Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the US House of Representatives, she is saying that the House will now be voting on a resolution aiming to limit President Donald Trump's military powers against Iran.
Indeed, and that's the key question, Munmun. Many people around the world say and suspect that this was done with an aim to boost Trump's electoral fortunes going forward. Remember, the US goes to the polls in November this year, and between now and November, Trump can be expected to hard sell this Iran policy to his constituents. The other important factor is the impeachment hanging over Trump's head, and many observers say that the assassination of Qasem Soleimani was done with an aim, twofold purpose: one, to deflect attention from the impeachment proceedings, and two, to burnish his foreign policy credentials between now and the November elections in the US.
Coming back to India, Ramesh, is India doing a tight diplomatic rope walk between the United States and Iran, because it has close ties with both the countries?
Absolutely. Munmun, if we take a look back at the last 5 years of Prime Minister Modi's first term in government, Prime Minister Modi was one leader who invested a great deal of time, energy and effort into improving ties with all countries in West Asia. Why? Because India wanted to sort of have a tightrope walk, so to speak, between competing objectives or interests. Saudi Arabia versus Iran, Israel versus Iran. So India had reached out to all countries in the region in a bid to shore up its foreign policy, and under Prime Minister Modi's so-called Link West policy, we've tried to build ties with all countries in West Asia, be it Saudi Arabia, Iran, Israel, or other countries in the Persian Gulf and West Asia. So India will be looking to keep these relations on an even keel going forward, so that predictability of oil supplies remains there and there is no too much of disturbance that will affect the Indians living and working, the 8 million people living and working in the West Asia as a whole.
Do you see the entire Middle East not just split down the middle, but the divisions stark between them in terms of their allegiances either to the United States or to Iran?
Absolutely. There are two clear divisions emerging, Munmun. On the one side, we have Russia and China sort of seen to be on the side of Iran. On the other hand, we have the US and its allies in Europe and in West Asia pitted against Iran. So we've clean two straight divisions or a clean fault line emerging in the region. And India, the challenge for India is to navigate these competing interests nimbly, subtly, and to sort of keep India's interests in mind when dealing with all countries, all stakeholders, be the US and its allies or Iran and its close allies, namely Russia and China. So India will have to walk a deft diplomatic tightrope walk here in the days ahead.
Thanks, Ramesh, for those inputs and perspective on the situation which is evolving between Iran as well as the United States of America. Well, let's move on now. The Election Commission is set to announce dates of assembly elections in Delhi later today. Term of the incumbent assembly expires in February 2020. Pending announcement of the Delhi Assembly, all three major contenders for power, that is the Aam Aadmi Party, the Bharatiya Janata Party as well as the Congress, have hit the ground to woo the voters. Delhi has a total of 1.43 crore voters according to the Election Commission's record for the Lok Sabha election in 2019. Delhi Assembly has 70 constituencies. And now our correspondent Bikramjeet Singh is joining us from the newsroom. Bikram, it seems that the stage is set for the announcement of the Delhi Assembly election. How are the odds for various parties? We haven't seen one major party announce a chief ministerial candidate, and we've seen what Amit Shah had to say. He said that we will be winning this election through mohalla meetings, and there is the Aam Aadmi Party which is going on an announcement spree and an advertisement spree as well.
देखिए, इस बार जो त्रिकोणीय मुकाबला दिल्ली में होने वाला है वो काफ़ी दिलचस्प रहने वाला है। एक और जहां 5 साल पहले आम आदमी पार्टी जो है वो 67 सीटें जीत कर आई थी, उनको वो सीटें रिटेन करने की चुनौती है, तो वहीं पर भारतीय जनता पार्टी जो है, जो पिछली बार 3 सीटें जीती थी, उससे कहीं ज़्यादा आगे बढ़कर सरकार बनाने का दावा कर रही है। बीजेपी का दावा है कि जो लोकसभा चुनाव हुए थे 2019 में, उसमें बीजेपी ने जो उसको सातों की सातों सीटें जीती थी, और सातों सीटों की लोकसभा सीटों को अगर विधानसभा सीटों में कन्वर्ट किया जाए तो बीजेपी ने 65 सीटों पर लीड प्राप्त की थी। तो वहीं कांग्रेस जो है, जो पिछली बार विधानसभा चुनाव में कोई भी सीट जीतने में कामयाब नहीं रही थी, इस बार कांग्रेस को लगता है कि वो अपने आप को सुधार सकते हैं और कहीं ना कहीं सरकार बना सकते हैं या सरकार बनाने के नज़दीक रह सकते हैं। तो कहीं ना कहीं ये दिलचस्प मुकाबला विधायकों के लिए कौन कौन हो सकता है, टिकटार्थियों के लिए सभी में जो है चर्चाएं शुरू हो गई हैं, दावेदारियां शुरू हो गई हैं। अभी तक अनाउंसमेंट तो नहीं हुई है, लेकिन तीनों ही पार्टियों में इसको लेकर काफ़ी तेजी से काम चल रहा है, ताकि जल्दी से जल्दी अपने उम्मीदवार तीनों ही पार्टियां घोषित कर सके। लेकिन पहले कौन करेगा ये देखने वाली बात होगी, क्योंकि उसके बाद ही त्रिकोणीय मुकाबला बनेगा कि शतरंज की बिसात पे कौन किसके सामने टक्कर देता है। जहां तक मुद्दों की अगर बात करें तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी जहां केंद्र सरकार की योजनाएं CAA को लेकर आ रही है, JNU की हिंसा का मुद्दा प्रकाश जावड़ेकर ने उठाया था और आरोप लगाया था कि इसके पीछे आम आदमी पार्टी और कहीं ना कहीं कांग्रेस ने हवा दी है, तो वहीं पर जो है CAA का मुद्दा भी बीजेपी इसको लेकर आ रही है। केंद्र सरकार की योजनाएं जो है, जहां झुग्गी वहां मकान की योजनाएं जो है तमाम लेकर आ रही है। केजरीवाल सरकार बिजली बिजली पानी की बात तो कर ही रही है, इसके साथ साथ जो है मोहल्ला क्लिनिक की बात कर रही है, 5 साल के सुशासन की बात कर रही है। वहीं कांग्रेस जो है वो पोल्यूशन की बात कर रही है, बिजली की दरों की बात कर रही है। तो तमाम ऐसे मुद्दे हैं जो जनता को चुनने हैं कि वो किन मुद्दों के चुनने के आधार पर जो है वोट देंगे और कौन अगली सरकार किसकी बनेगी, आखिरकार दिल्ली की जनता को तय करना है। सभी पार्टियों ने अपनी बिसात बिछानी शुरू कर दी है, कार्यकर्ताओं के सम्मेलन बुलाने शुरू कर दिए हैं, कार्यकर्ताओं को ट्रेनिंग देनी शुरू कर दी है ताकि
So there's heightened political activity even ahead of the announcement of Delhi Assembly elections is what you're telling us. Remains to be seen which party will come out with their names of candidates first. Well, Union Home Minister and BJP's National President Amit Shah today stressed upon the need for promoting cycling, which is a pollution-free mode of transport. Addressing the foundation stone-laying ceremony of Delhi Cycle Walk in New Delhi, Amit Shah said that riding a bicycle is a great way to contribute to the preservation of our ecosystems. Amit Shah also hit out at the Delhi government, saying the Delhi government has failed to provide safe drinking water to the citizens in Delhi.
जहर जैसा पानी दिल्ली को पीने वालों के लिए दिया है, जहर जैसा पानी। दिल्ली के पानी की क्वालिटी केजरीवाल जी आपकी प्रशासन क्षमता को दिखा दी। ये जल निगम जो है, जिनके अध्यक्ष स्वयं केजरीवाल जी हैं, 150 करोड़ के मुनाफे में चलता था, 800 करोड़ के घाटे में डालने का काम एक केजरीवाल जी।
Amit Shah also hit out at the Congress of the Aam Aadmi Party and accused them of creating confusion among people over the Citizenship Amendment Act.
कांग्रेस पार्टी और आप पार्टी, विशेषकर कांग्रेस पार्टी में कहना चाहता हूं, ये राहुल गांधी और प्रियंका गांधी पूरे देश भर में इस देश की माइनॉरिटी को गुमराह कर रहे हैं। इस देश के सिटीजनशिप चली जाएगी, आप नागरिक नहीं रह पाओगे। ये जो सीएए है उसमें किसी की भी सिटीजनशिप लेने का प्रावधान ही नहीं है, सिटीजनशिप देने का प्रावधान है। आप झूठ क्यों बोल रहे हैं? दिल्ली के युवाओं को गुमराह किया, दिल्ली की जनता को गुमराह किया और दिल्ली को दंगों की आग में झुलसने का पाप एक कांग्रेस पार्टी और आप पार्टी ने किया है। दिल्ली की जनता जरूर इस बात का आपसे हिसाब मांगे। राहुल बाबा, आपकी हर हरकत को देश दूरबीन की नजर से देख रहा है कि आप गंगाइयों का साथ दे रहे हैं।
And in midday prime, it's time for news and updates from the world of business. And my colleague Nancy Kohli now joins us with all the updates. Nancy, are the markets seeing red over the West Asia turmoil?
Absolutely, yes. In fact, Munmun, the stock markets across the world have tumbled, spooked on concerns over a possible breaking out of hostilities between US and Iran and eventual flare-up in the Middle East. And India is also no exception to this, as benchmark indices are trading more than a percentage point lower due to selling across the board. Now, in the early trade, the BSE Sensex crashed up to 700 points. The rupee also depreciated by 31 paise to 72.11 in the early trade today, weighed by the spike in the crude oil prices. Meanwhile, the oil prices have surged. Gold hit a more than 6-year high over the fear of war in the Middle East. And equity markets tracked losses on the Wall Street, where the three main indices fell from the record highs, while all the 7 bourses in the Gulf Cooperation Council states finished sharply down, with some even fearing Iranian revenge attacks on US assets or troops. Now, some of the GCC members, including Kuwait, Qatar and Bahrain, are home to major US military bases, while there are also hundreds of troops in Saudi Arabia. The losses on the equity markets extended into Asia, with bourses in Tokyo, Hong Kong, Sydney, Singapore, Seoul, Taipei, Manila and Jakarta shedding many points on rising concerns about the stability in the region. And let's now go across to our correspondent Shama Mishra, who's joining us with more inputs on that. Shama, of course, markets there baking all the buzz and all the big news coming in from there. The developments taking place across the globe having its bearing, expectedly so, on the markets, and all the global markets being affected a great deal.
Well, yes, we are talking about our domestic markets, and we currently now we are seeing that the BSE Sensex is almost down 800 points, and the Nifty is also no exception. It is down 250 points almost. So yes, the domestic equity markets are tracking the all Middle Eastern markets on all the Asian markets. That is because of the tension that is happening between the US and Iran. Also, we've spoken to the market experts, and they are of the word that if this tension doesn't de-escalate, then the market will more bleed into red, and the likely sectors that could only profit are the pharma and the IT, because we are seeing that the rupee and the dollar index, that is the proportion, the rupee is falling and the dollar is rising, and because of that the IT sector is really gaining of all this. And also because of this particular factor, the export companies, whichever sectors are in the exports field, they are also about to gain from this. The pharma companies are also likely to gain in the coming weeks. But yes, the markets, if like I mentioned, the tension doesn't de-escalate, then it will be a bad factor for the Indian markets as well, because we've always spoken that the markets work on sentiments, and this is the time when the entire market or the entire investors, they are trying to protect themselves, and they are trying to find a safe haven. And amid all of this tension that is going on, they are finding gold and other the valuable metals as their safe haven, and because of that the gold prices are also surging. And this will continue if the tension of the Middle East and the US doesn't de-escalate. We are also seeing the crude oil prices are also surging. We know for the fact that India imports most of its oil percentage, that is almost about 80%. So if this crisis is about to increase, then India will have to buckle up, because India is exporting a lot of percentage from these countries, Middle Eastern countries, the oil, and that will be a very bad effect. That will have a very bad effect on the fiscal deficit. So yes, India has to maintain, and India has to guard up their shores and everything, because the crude oil prices can affect the economy very badly, and we are currently seeing that the economy is not going through a very good mark, and to not have a very bad mark on the Indian economy and the fiscal deficit. It is very important to pull up the socks and maintain whatever balances we can.
Absolutely. All right, Shama, thanks very much for joining us for the moment and putting all those developments into perspective for us. Thanks very much. Well, that we'll keep track on all those developments. But moving on now, the gold prices in India have also surged to new highs, driven by a rally in the global rates amid US-Iran tensions. And on the MCX, February gold futures surged 2.3% on 918 rupees to a record high of 41,030 rupees per 10 grams. Silver futures on the MCX rose 2% on 947 rupees to 48,474 rupees per kilogram. And talking about the Indian rupee, which also fell beyond 72 rupees a US dollar amid a spike in the global oil prices, further supporting the gold prices. And that's all the business news this afternoon. Munmun, it's back to you for the rest of the news.
Thanks, Nancy, for that. And now a look at what's making news across the globe. In another incident of minority killing in Pakistan, Ravinder Singh, a 25-year-old Sikh, was killed by unidentified persons in Peshawar. The body was found under Chamkani police station area. Investigation is on into the matter. Meanwhile, India has strongly condemned the targeted killing of minority Sikh community member In Pakistan, the Ministry of External Affairs has said that Pakistan should stop prevaricating and take immediate action to apprehend and give exemplary punishment to the perpetrators of the crime. The MEA has said that the government of Pakistan should act in defense of their own minorities instead of preaching sermons about it to other countries. Speaking of the deadly bushfire which has devastated the country, Australia's Prime Minister has said that they will commit an extra $2 billion over the next 2 years to help cover the cost of rebuilding as bushfires ravage the country. He further added that the government is committed to provide immediate response for the rebuilding and recovery. Australia has been battling wildfires across swaths of its east coast for weeks, with the blazes scorching more than 6 million hectares of land, killing both wildfire and livestock and claiming 24 lives. Now it's time for our next segment, Life Prime, where we bring you stories from the world of art, culture, cinema, fashion, science and innovation, stories that are bringing smiles, stories that are changing lives. Sunday was a good day for fishing in Russia's Russky Island, located in the country's far east. But for more than 20 car owners who parked their cars on the icy coastline, they ended up not just pulling out fish when the ice began cracking. In no time, their cars were down 1.5 to 2 meters deep. Fortunately, no one was in the vehicles when they sank. Towing services came to their rescue, pulling out cars from the icy waters. Hollywood star Joaquin Phoenix won the Golden Globes for the Best Actor in a Motion Picture Drama for his performance in Joker, while Brad Pitt walked away with the Best Supporting Actor trophy for his performance of a gruff stuntman in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at the 77 Golden Globes Awards. The film was also adjudged the Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy. Quentin Tarantino bagged the Best Screenplay for this period revisionist drama. Renée Zellweger won the Best Actress in a Drama category for Judy, while Laura Dern took home the trophy for the Best Supporting Actress for her role of a lawyer in Marriage Story. Sam Mendes won in the Best Director category for 1917. In the animation category, Missing Link was the surprise winner. In the television category, Fleabag was the winner for the Best Television Series. HBO's Succession was named the Best Television Series Drama at the ceremony taking place in the Beverly Hilton in Beverly Hills. Tom Hanks, regarded as one of the nicest men in show business, was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Golden Globes to mark his 30-year movie career. The boyish-looking Hanks, now 63 years old, was presented with the Cecil B. DeMille Award. Ellen DeGeneres, the stand-up comedian who broke barriers to gaze to become one of the most popular people on television, received a Golden Globes Lifetime Achievement Award. Listen into what an emotional Hanks had to say.
The most undeniable thing that can be said about Tom Hanks is both deceptively simple and yet overwhelmingly true. He just makes the world a better place. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Hanks!
I'm a little jittery. A man is... Sorry. A man is blessed. A man is blessed with a family sitting down front like that. A wife who is fantastic in every way, who has taught me what love is. 5 kids who are braver and stronger and wiser than their old man is, and a loving group of people who have put away with me being away months and months and months at a time. Of course, otherwise I wouldn't be standing here if they didn't have to put up with that. So I can't tell you how much your love means to me. Thank you.
What an emotional moment for Tom Hanks and his fans and supporters. Life is a box of chocolates, he had said in his movie Forrest Gump. That's it then in this edition of Midday Prime. News and updates will continue on DD News and DD India. Stay tuned.